Aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. The stock market is so strong. Right after our bottom in April, we had one pullback, but I'm not calling this a pullback. I'm not calling this a pullback, this a pullback, or this a pullback. I see this as one continuous uptrend, a lockout rally, if you will. And even though the Nasdaq 100 was down today, the regular Nasdaq was actually up today, which continues to show its outperformance. And if you look at the relative strength line of the QQQ, as long as the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 have the relative strength line looking like this, as long as this index is leading and the RS line is hitting new all-time highs with price, I don't see a pullback happening. Now, listen, August and September are seasonally historically the two weakest months of the year. We'll see if we get a pullback then. Normally, the best bases come from that time frame. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year, the best consolidation breakouts came after that August through September period. APP blasted out and broke out and moved higher. In 2023, SMCI came out of this base. Actually, I think it was APP in 2023, it was early 24, but this was the one right here that I really remember, that pullback right there. And then if we look at NVIDIA, go back to 2023 when it broke out of that consolidation that it put in 2023. That's when its big uptrend happened. So the best time to pull back would be now, August, September. That would help create some amazing bases. Lately, a lot of the stocks that have been in my weekly squeeze scan, i.e., they're not. I wouldn't do buy stops on any of the breakouts. Like, this is my biggest regret of the entire uptrend. Roblox, this was in my weekly squeeze scan right here. It built the handle while it was still in my weekly squeeze scan. And I just didn't think the handle was long enough. So I didn't do a buy stop above this high. And this continues to be my biggest regret, if not CRS. You can watch all the weekend videos. You can see that this line was drawn then, told everybody what I was going to do, and I just didn't do it. But I'm not looking for those plays right now. Right now, I'm looking for stocks within consolidations. And I never do this because I really don't have time. But I actually posted on Twitter, QBTS. I actually posted this on Twitter because this is what I'm looking for. Stocks that show up in my daily squeeze scan that have pocket pivot point signals near the 21 EMA and 50 SMA. Now, after today's session, we don't have any of those. However, I have a position in QUBT from way earlier, and it looks like it's consolidating. It's in the daily squeeze scan. It's not really as close to the 50 SMA as I would like, and there is no pocket pivot point signal. But since I'm so limited for buying power and capital in these accounts because everything is basically working, I'm going to go ahead and put a buy stop above Friday's high of the day. And if it triggers and fills me in, that will try to fill out the position that I originally had in QUBT, and my stop will be either the consolidation low or 50 SMA. Depends if it cracks either one on heavy volume, and if the stock actually works higher immediately, the 50 SMA should catch up to that low. But QBTS I posted on Twitter, which I rarely do. And so these are the kind of setups I'm looking for right now. They got to make my daily squeeze scan. There's weekly conditions that it needs to qualify, daily conditions that it needs to qualify to make the scan. Right now, there's only 7 stocks in the scan. One new one showed up on Friday, VST. I already have a position in this in a long-term portfolio. This is one of the ones that I started to buy a little too early in the downtrend. I think it, golly, I can't even remember when, because was it, let's see, the only way that I'll be able to know is by looking at the QQQ. So whenever I got here to the 200 SMA, that's whenever I decided to go ahead and buy VST. I did not add to VST on the way down like I did some other stocks and the indices. But since that add signal, it's much higher. So VST is super high quality. I'm definitely interested, but this is not an actionable signal after today. But it is the only fresh name that made that daily squeeze scan after Friday's session. I also want to make mention to members. I mentioned this one because it made the daily squeeze scan yesterday, but that it was too extended from the 50 SMA. But it was a fresh hit, and I told everybody, watch it run without me. Today, up 9%. I also made mention that I can't chase A-Lab. Been looking to get an entry signal on A-Lab while it was pulling back. I didn't get one, and then of course yesterday it puts in this big move, followed through more today. So it's really now running away from me. This breakout looks like it's going to be good to go. And then another one that I'm looking at is RUM. Similar situation. Hoping it can consolidate a little more. I would like to get a position in this name. But stocks that I saw today that moved of interest, Pega off the 50, eBay and Dell. What is this? 1999 or 2003? eBay and Dell today, and then HIMS looks like it's trying to form a bottom here, but very low volume on this wedge higher. I want to make that very clear. There's no accumulation since that heaviest volume ever day sell off. So if this rolls over, I will not be shocked. Currently in the daily squeeze scan, the only stocks that are kind of in the condition that I would look at to get long, you got IDN, but it's a $5 stock. Do you think I love it? The answer is no. CTGO, $19 stock, nice tight squeeze, but quantum, AI, drone, nuke related, not that into it. Now, one stock that's in the daily squeeze scan, Cell H, I'm watching closely. If I can get a pocket pivot point signal, if it can get down closer to the 50 SMA, this one would be actionable. And then XGN in the more speculative part did have a pocket pivot point signal today, still consolidating, still of interest. But once again, look at the share price. You know I'm not that into it. QBTS, look at the share price, 18. QUBT, look at the share price, 19. It's above $10. I'm always going to be more interested in stocks above $10. So any names I need to take profits on today? Let's see. BULL. Sadly, you see the white triangle there. It worked immediately, and it was doing great. And I was kind of hoping what we saw the last 2 days after it was up near 20% for us. These last 2 days, I was kind of hoping it would come 2 days after this move here. But we had a little pullback. Took profits on the way up a little bit and had some trailing stops that did get hit. So I've been shaken out of this position, but I still have a piece. But after today's session, I still want to lock in 10% profits now that we're up 41% since the entry. I wish it would have been a bigger position, had the chart, had everything lined up, but bull just doesn't have the fundamentals that I like and to really load the boat, but I do want to take profits on that. And then more house cleaning. GH was a recent long signal above this high from my weekly squeeze scan. This is why I don't like breakouts in this market. It attempted a breakout here, but squatted. Basically I was all out after this session here because my final stop was here. 50% left here, and final stop was moved to here because it lost the green bop. It is now completely rolling over, closing below the initial posted final sell stop level. So it is a 100% sell signal. And if we round up, that would be an 8% loss on an end of day basis. But compare that to the 40% gain in bull, and you can tell that even if it's a outlier loss, which is what GH is with an 8% loss if you had the full position still, the winners always take care of the losers because rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at big wave trading is always cut your losses as soon as possible. Protect that capital, keep that capital because there will be another QBTS that triggers that gives us a 13% gain. And is QUBX on this one? Nope, it sure is not. But let's see, RGTI, because we're long RGTI, RGTX. Nope, not there. But I think QUBX, nope, QBTX. There it is. So there is one on this antiquated archaic version. It's all charts. So you can see that while we were up 14%, this one was up 27% yesterday. So the 2X versions always work. And on that note, with me adding to QUBT, since I'm so limited with capital, will be using QUBX. But that's it for this Friday. There's nothing else I really want to discuss. Everything looks good, a little too good. Always makes me a little, cautious that things are just running too smoothly. But one thing I would never do is fight this trend, not one that's this strong.